Dear students, let's get back to our poem, John Brown by Bob Dylan. Yesterday we did the first 5 stanzas. We have seen how John Brown's mother was extremely happy to send him off to the foreign land to fight. She was overcome with joy because he was wearing a uniform. He looked very handsome and he had a gun. And she had come down to the railway station to send him off. And when he went off, instead of being sad, she was very happy because she could proclaim to the whole world, the neighbors, all the people around, that my son is going. He is a soldier, he is holding a gun. That's where we stopped, 5th stanza. Then after some time passed, and the letters which used to come on regular intervals started to become delayed, started to get delayed. And later we found the letters ceased to come for a long time. They did not come. They ceased to come for about 10 months or more. Then a letter finally came, not from John Brown, but from the officials. And it said, go down and meet the train. Your son is coming home from the war. Naturally, mother would have been delighted. Let's see what is her response. She smiled and went right down. She looked everywhere around, but she could not see her soldier's son in sight. But as all the people passed, she saw her son at last. When she did, she could hardly believe her eyes. So mother must have been extremely happy because we remember how she sent her son off. She was proud that John Brown was her son. She could proclaim to the neighbors proudly that this is my son. He is going to fight in the foreign land and he is holding a gun. Something great. And she wanted him to come back, and when he brings the medals, she wanted to decorate the house with all the medals John Brown would bring. The fancies, the dreams of hers will be fulfilled. And she could proudly tell her neighbors, here are the medals my dear son has brought. Here are the medals he won during the war. He has fought for our country. So she was extremely happy. So she rushes to the railway station with an expectation of seeing his son more handsome, more beautiful, more pleasing than earlier, and with plenty of medals. She smiled and went right down. She looked everywhere around, but she could not see her soldier's son in sight. She started to search. Where is my son? Where is my son? There were so many people. She was looking around for her son. She could not find. But as all the people passed, she saw her son at last. How did she see? All the other people went away. Only one remained. The one who remained was none other than her son. In the crowd, she could not make out. But when he was left alone, she spotted him. When she did find, she could hardly believe her eyes. Why she could not believe? She could not believe because he was badly wounded in the war. Her hopes were shattered. Her dreams were all gone. He was no more the John Brown, the young, handsome, straight, all the qualities that he possessed were shattered in the war. That's why she could not recognize him. So she spotted him. She could not spot him. Couldn't even make out where he is. So she made out where he is when all the other people left. John Brown alone was left on the platform. On his face was all shot up and his hand was all blown off. And he wore a metal brace around his waist. He whispered kind of slow in a voice she did not know, while she couldn't even recognize his face. Oh Lord, not even recognize his face. So this is the most captivating stanza. You can say the climax, like the climax. The unexpected has happened. The peak has reached the peak. Where she expected something, just opposite has happened. She was hoping that her son will be so bright looking. He'll be wearing all the medals. And he'll be exuberant. He'll be holding the gun and standing erect and salute her. But what she saw was heart-rending, unexpected, shocking. On his face was all shot up. His face was shot up. His hand was all blown off. And a metal brace around his waist. What a pathetic condition. Face which was handsome once have been shot up. It become very ugly. A hand which was powerful, which was holding the gun, it has been blown off. It has become either it is not there or is handicapped. His hand is gone. And a metal brace around his waist. He couldn't even stand straight, couldn't even stand in the normal way. A metal brace was around his waist to make him to stand. A pathetic situation. And the most important word here is she couldn't recognize his face. Mother could not recognize the face of the son. Mothers normally they'll be able to recognize the faces of their children easily. Even in the crowd where there are thousands and thousands of people are present, they can recognize their face. Even after so many years of break. But here, the mother, when John Brown alone was left on the platform also, failed to recognize his face. That means his face was beyond recognition. His face had turned ugly. His face had lost its shape. He was disfigured. Disfigured. On his face was all shot up and his hand was all blown off. Shot up means disfigured face. His face was all shot up. Shot up means disfigured face. His hand was blown off. That means it was wounded. His hand was wounded or destroyed with a missile. You know, missiles are used in the war by the soldiers. So, the enemy missile must have hit his hand, or while handling a missile, most probably the enemy missile must have hit his hand, and his hand was destroyed. No more hands. His hand was maybe one hand. Hand was all blown off. It's given hand, not hands. Therefore, it must be single hand. And he wore a metal brace around his waist. Metal brace is metal belt. Belt made of metal in order to support his waist. Most probably his back has been badly damaged. He whispered kind of slow in a voice she did not know, while she couldn't even recognize his face. So John Brown tried to speak. John Brown tried to utter something, say something to his mother, which she could not recognize because his face was disfigured. It is the shape of the mouth and the teeth, the tongue, the palate. All these things make you to speak coherently, make you to speak well. If I speak, if you are able to understand, it is because all my body parts are well set. If some of the parts are damaged, then when I speak, you will not be able to understand. Here his face was completely disfigured, and therefore what he spoke, only he knows. She did not even hear, or even if she heard, she did not even understand. What a pathetic thing. She couldn't even recognize his face. The singer, like a refrain, it again sings, stresses that one, and sings again, "Oh Lord, not even recognize his face." That is to give emphasis, to stress the fact that mother could not recognize her son's face. While she couldn't even recognize his face, oh Lord, not even recognize his face. So this has to be seen in contrast to what we learned yesterday. Yesterday I told you, when we read the second stanza, first stanza, keep in mind that important. His mama sure was proud of him. He stood straight and tall in his uniform and all. His mama's praise broke out all in a grin. So, John Brown was getting ready to go for the war, first stanza, and mama was so proud of him because John Brown stood straight and tall in his uniform and all, and mama's face broke out in grin. She was smiling. Now, is she smiling? No, she cannot smile. Her smile disappeared forever. Her hopes have been destroyed. So in just contrasting the first stanza and seventh stanza. So John Brown's deplorable condition is depicted in stanza 7. Now he looks really pathetic. His face is disfigured, hand is gone, he can't even stand straight. So that is the effect of war on John Brown. The ill effects of war on soldiers. So John Brown is not just the son of the mother, a single man. John Brown is representing every man who has gone to fight the war for the country. Not only in America, but everywhere else, all over the world. Soldiers who are involved in fighting the war are being represented by John Brown. And John Brown's mother represents every mother of all the soldiers. Every mother of all the soldiers. Oh, tell me, my darling son, pray tell me what they done. How is it you come to be this way? He tried his best to talk, but his mouth could hardly move, and the mother had to turn her face away. So when The mother met her son and she could not recognize and she could not understand what he spoke. Her house had been completely destroyed and she asked, "Oh, tell me, my darling son, pray tell me what they had done. How is it you come to be this way? What happened to you? How did you come to be like this? All broken, all shattered. You are no more that handsome man. You are no more that straight standing person. Not even able to stand. What happened to you? Why are you here? Not able to speak properly. What happened to the mouth? What happened to your face which was so beautiful, so wonderful? Where are you? What happened to you? What have they done to you?" He tried his best to talk, but his mouth could hardly move. John Brown, with lot of difficulty, tried to speak, but he could not speak because of the disfigurement of his face, because of the ill effects of the war, the great effects on his face, on his mouth. Maybe all these parts have been moved, a little bit moved aside, disfigured completely. They are not in the former shape. They are not in the proper shape. So he couldn't even speak. He wanted to speak, but he could not speak. And the mother had to turn her face away. And the mother had to turn her face away. Very important verse. Mother had to turn her face away from the son. John Brown's mother was waiting for his son to come back. And when you meet your children, mothers, when they meet their children after a long time, they'll keep on looking at the face. Oh, how beautiful he looks. How beautiful she looks. Oh, my dear, I have been missing. I missed you so much. Then they'll embrace and they will kiss the face. And just they'll take the face in their hand and keep on looking. That's what mothers do. But here, John Brown's mother turned her face away. She had to turn her face away because she was unable to bear such a disheartening sight. It was so disheartening, so painful to see the face of John Brown. The shattered face, the destroyed hand, his inability to talk. The mother had to turn her face away.